Yo, guys, welcome back again today. Today we're going to be talking about Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. Dr. Frances Cress Welsing was born in 1935 in Chicago, Illinois. Both her father and mother held jobs in which her mother was a teacher and her father was a doctor in the medical field. She also was the second child of three girls. These two professionals would mold Frances to look deeper into the normal way of life. Her dad Henry and her mother Ida. She would go on to university at the age of 22 in 1957. She would acquire a bachelor's degree of science from Antioch College in Ohio, and in 1962, Frances would acquire a medical doctor degree from Howard University. She also acquired a medical degree in child psychology. She would go on to work at children's hospitals as a psychiatrist and eventually went back to Howard University to work as an assistant professor. Frances would go on to write her first writing, which is The Cress Theory of Color-Confrontation and Racism. She would publish this book in 1970. This book would analyze and suggest that humans with little to no pigment in their skin were abnormal. Pigment in human skin seemed to be the natural state. This conclusion came from the majority of humans producing pigment in their skin, such as Europeans or albinoism was a genetic inadequacy. This theory, in Frances's book, would be the origins of white supremacy culture and racial perception. 22 years later, she would write The ISIS Papers, The Keys to the Colors. This was a collection of essays written by Frances over an 18-year time period. They were also named after the Egyptian goddess Isis, who was the sister of the god of Osiris. She would argue the African origins of civilization by highlighting the achievements in philosophy, science, and architecture. Frances also talks of Europeans being the only people in the world with little to no melanin, and for this reason, they were expelled out of Africa. She also claims that Europeans want to ensure genetic survival in Europeans due to the rest of the world having melanin. Populations of blacks and other melanated people around the world were growing at a faster rate than whites were. If put in the same population with melanin, the melanin would mix with the white and produce a person with melanin. Frances speaks of how Europeans view the human body as a sin and the need to be reborn. While no such concepts existed in any melanated culture around the world before the introduction of foreign religions. I found this Mark Twain quote I learned about and found very interesting. Nearly all the black and brown skins are beautiful, but white is rare. How rare? One may learn by walking down a street in Paris, New York, or London on any weekday, particularly in an unfashionable street, and keeping count of the satisfactory complexions encountered in the course of a mile. Where dark complexions are masked, they make the whites look bleached out, unwholesome, sometimes frankly ghastly. That was said by Mark Twain himself. These papers and writings were the first time an African-American psychiatrist wrote on and against a predominantly white practice in the West. Theories and studies on social, cultural, and psychology in the West were mostly done by Europeans. She was qualified to speak on all these subjects, and she did. She would be the first to focus on why white supremacy came into the world. She had pushback and even debated on live TV. Her debate would be in 1974 with Dr. William Shockley. Dr. William Shockley at the time was author of a theory of black genetic inferiority. She would debate, and the bases were, and challenge the traditional definitions of racism. She would speak on these definitions that were put in place by white behavioral and social scientists. There was a lot of controversy surrounding her, and she was even spoke about on the Los Angeles Times for being the first scientist to analyze white racism in Western psychiatry. Frances had a strong belief that racism could be erased by education, self-respect, and discipline. She would go on to lecture at many universities and also in England. She also advised Black women and men to not have kids until they were in their 30s. This was so they can properly educate themselves so they can raise the next generation to function at a high level. Frances would pass away in 2016 at the age of 80 years old. So today we talked about Frances Cress Welsing. Please like and subscribe, turn on the bell notification down there so you'll get all my videos. Add me on all social medias, which is African Network, which is Instagram, Twitter, SoundCloud, Snapchat, Facebook, and TikTok. Each one teach one. Always love each other, always learn from each other. And yo guys, until next time, keep debating. Peace, one love.